In the unforgiving world of high school, one loner named Ryouta Izumiya had a single mission: survive. His method? Total invisibility, but his cover is about to be blown. A sudden seat change thrusts him from the shadows into the spotlight, trapping him between the school's 3 reigning queens: the impossibly cute and popular Airi Miyama, the cool and intimidating gyaru Yuria Ichinose, and the perfect scheming class rep Rui Kuroki. He thinks he's in for a nightmare of social anxiety, but he's about to discover that behind their perfect smiles lie incredible secrets: a part-time job, a hidden hobby, and a long-lost connection. He wanted to be left alone, but he's about to become the center of everyone's attention. Get ready for a hilarious and heartwarming story about the secret relationship started by a simple seat change. Now, let's get right into the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
In typical high school classrooms, the event of changing seats is announced, which is usually a cause for excitement for most students. However, for a self-proclaimed loner, it is a meaningless event. He is approached by a female classmate who asks him, "Want to grab a frappuccino on the way home, Airi?" He thinks to himself that such social invitations are only fun for extroverts. The girl then adds, "I'm kind of broke though," to which the boy replies, "Then I'll pay for you." The boy muses, "Or so I thought." The story introduces Ryouta Izumiya, who cherishes his corner seat because it allows him to quietly read his light novels alone. He finds the extroverted students to be loud and prefers his solitude. To him, his current seat is the best seat today, too. He feels it's a god-tier seat because he's comfortably surrounded by 2 or 3 layers of his classmates, allowing him to savor every moment of his reading. Suddenly, a female student cheerfully announces, "Everyone, attention, we're doing seat changes today." This news comes as a complete shock to Ryouta, who exclaims, "Wah!" He's dismayed, wondering why things have to be messed up. For an introvert like him, seat changes are a high-risk, no-reward situation. Another student mentions that the class representative, Kuroki, asked the teacher to do it. The seating chart is posted, and as students flock to see it, one girl excitedly exclaims, "Next to Suzuki, woohoo!" Ryouta anxiously searches for his name on the chart and is horrified to find his seat is now in the center. His despair is palpable as he thinks, it's over. For a moment, he considers the possibility that he might be surrounded by fellow introverts. However, a look at the seating chart reveals that he is seated between Ichinose, Miyama, and Kuroki. This realization fills him with dread as he lets out a silent scream. He looks at his new spot, a lucky window seat that he ironically calls a god spot, and laments, "Why someone like me, an introvert?" His despair deepens when he sees the popular girls already at their desks. Ugh, did I get stuck with this? Ryouta realizes he's surrounded by 3 S-tier beautiful girls, which he considers the worst seat possible. Other boys in the class are envious, one saying, "I'd love to get close to those 3, and another adding, "I'm jealous." They acknowledge that the girls are the undisputed cast tops and the center of the class. All Ryouta wants is to sit quietly in a corner and enjoy his light novels. However, he finds his new situation to be nothing short of hell. At that moment, the girl sitting in front of Ryouta, Airi Miyama, is described as the embodiment of cute. Ryouta internally complains, "Why the hell is someone like her sitting in front of me? This is the worst." Meanwhile, another girl compliments Airi, "Wow, your nails are so pretty. Did you do them yourself? That's amazing." Next to him is Yuria Ichinose, a downer-type gyaru. "Oh, I didn't really do anything special," she replies to a compliment before adding, "Thanks." Ryouta thinks to himself that while he likes curvy bodies, gyarus are intimidating in real life, and he's scared they'll get the wrong idea about him. One of the girls turns to Ryouta and asks, "Hey, our seats are pretty close, huh?" Then she wonders aloud, "I wonder if Rui-chan arranged it so we'd be near each other." Airi calls out, "Hey, Rui-chan!" Ryouta is shocked, realizing that Rui Kuroki is the mastermind behind the seat change. Rui turns to him with a smile and says, "Izumiya-kun, long time no see." Rui introduces herself as the class rep, Rui Kuroki. Looks like we're neighbors starting today, huh? Nice to meet you. Internally panicking and blaming her for her predicament, Ryouta stammers, Nice to meet you. Just then, one of the girls points out, Oh, the teacher's coming. The teacher enters the classroom and announces, Looks like the seat change is finished, but don't go getting too excited, you lot. He clarifies, this time it was only because the class rep, Kuroki, insisted that I allowed it. He then delivers the final blow. Seat changes are pointless, and I don't plan on allowing another one. A shocked Ryouta thinks, What? Wait, don't tell me.
As the teacher concludes homeroom, Ryouta is filled with dread, thinking, No way. Am I really stuck with this seat until the end of second year? Later, Airi asks Rui, Hey, Rui-chan, do you know that guy? Rui replies, Yeah, we were in the same class back in middle school. Airi responds with a curious, Huh? Ryouta, trying to calm himself down with a light novel, wonders if Kuroki even remembers him. Suddenly, Airi peeks at his book and exclaims, Whoa, it's a dirty picture book. Mortified, Ryouta thinks, Shut up, what you? He notices Yuria looking at him and panics internally. Oh crap, she's totally judging me. The teasing ends and Ryouta silently thanks Yuria. Yuria then starts a conversation with the other two. By the way, I'm going out to buy sushi today. What about you two? Ryouta recognizes that this is girl talk. Rui says she's free since track and field has the day off and asks, What about you, Airi? Airi looks flustered. Airi claps her hands together apologetically. Sorry, I'm gonna pass today. My boyfriend said he wants to go to Starbucks after school. As the other girls react, Ryouta thinks to himself, Huh, Starbucks with her boyfriend, huh? Airi winks playfully and says, So enviable. Ryouta muses that this has nothing to do with a bottom feeder like him. After a long day, Ryouta walks home, sighing, What a day. He found that jealous stares from the other guys were painful, and thinks, Damn normies. However, he cheers himself up with the thought of his beloved manga and light novels, remembering that the one he wanted is released today. He arrives at a bookstore only to find a sign for the light novel, In another world, I sucked the boobs of S-rank beauties and absorbed their cheat skills, indicating that it is out of stock. A clerk apologizes, telling him, We're truly sorry, but it's currently out of stock. Ryouta reflects that it's a hot title, as expected from his favorite web novel. Deciding to try another store, he calls them. Hello, this is the Tsutumi Station front store, a voice answers. He asks, excuse me, I just wanted to check if you have the light novel, In Another World, I Sucked the Boobs of S-rank beauties and Absorbed Their Cheat Skills in stock. He feels embarrassed saying the title out loud. He finds the cheerful, high-quality voice on the phone to be oddly familiar and wonders if he's imagining things. The voice on the phone replies enthusiastically, A light novel? Got it. That boobs something or other book looks like there are 4 copies left. On his way, he wonders about the young-sounding voice, thinking it might be a new part-timer. When he gets to the bookstore, he approaches the counter to find a girl already there. I'm the one who called earlier, he begins. The girl turns to him and says, about that book from earlier. The bookstore employee turns out to be Airi Miyama, Ryota's classmate. Holding a stack of books, she confirms, We have it. Ryouta can only manage a confused, Huh? The realization dawns on both of them at the same time. Huh? Ryouta exclaims in shock. He thinks to himself, Airi Miyama is working a part-time job. Airi is equally stunned, recognizing him as the boy who sits behind me. Deciding to avoid a complicated situation, Ryouta thinks, All right, I'll just pretend I didn't see anything here. As he turns to leave, Airi grabs his shoulder and shouts, Hey! A flustered Airi confronts him, asking, Wait, don't tell me, are you planning to tell everyone that Airi has a part-time job? When Ryouta looks surprised, she quickly adds, What? Just so you know, I did get the school's permission and this job is within the working hours allowed by school rules, so don't... Just then, a senior employee steps in. That's enough. No lover's quarrels during your shift, it's against the rules. Ryouta internally protests, At least correct her, I'm not your boyfriend. And the manager sighs, Geez, what a handful. She then tells Airi, Miyama-chan, go take a break in the break room for now, and her boyfriend can go with her. A dejected Airi replies,
Okay. Now sitting awkwardly in the staff break room, Ryouta apologizes. Sorry, it's my fault. Airi quickly responds, no, I mean, I'm sorry too. Airi becomes emotional, which makes Ryouta uncomfortable as he thinks, too close. A loner like me can't handle being alone at this distance with a girl. He notices that Airi suddenly got scared. Airi explains her fear. I was scared I'd be called poor again like back then. A confused Ryouta asks, Poor? What do you mean by that? Airi then reveals her situation. The truth is, my family is really poor. My dad passed away when I was little, and my mom raised me all on her own. She continues explaining, I didn't get any allowance, and there were a lot of times that were really tough. Ryouta thinks to himself that she's had it much harder than he'd expected. Airi remembers her past. Back in middle school, when my friends started wearing makeup, I was the only one who couldn't keep up, and it made me feel really left out and miserable. Determined to change. So I worked hard to save money, and I studied fashion and makeup like crazy, she says. And finally, I was able to become the cute version of myself. To keep up that cute version of myself, I had to face the reality that it costs money. Ryouta understands, asking, So that's why you got a job? Airi confirms, Yeah, but, getting a part-time job doesn't automatically mean you're poor. She tries to sound tough, saying, It doesn't bother me if people call me poor anyway. I've gotten used to being called that by others anyway. However, she reveals her true worry. But I definitely don't want Yuria or Rui, who became my friends all the way back in our first year, to find out. I absolutely don't want them to know. With tears in her eyes, she looks at Ryouta and pleads, So that's why Ryouta looks at Airi and tells her, I honestly really respect you, Miyama. A surprised Airi can only say, Huh? He explains, I've never even bought anything with money I earned myself. Compared to you, you're way more mature, Miyama. He continues, saying, That's why I could never look down on someone like you, Miyama. I absolutely wouldn't. Immediately after saying this, he panics internally. What the heck am I saying? Airi, touched by his words, smiles warmly. Oh, come on. You're actually pretty sweet, huh? Ryouta becomes flustered as Airi giggles. Anyway, I should get back to work. You came here to buy a book, didn't you? That boob whatever book. Ryouta remembers his purpose for being at the store and goes to find the book, but the shelf is empty. He sighs in disappointment. My opai sui is gone. Just then, Airi appears beside him and playfully whispers, Did you find the book you were looking for? Startled, Ryouta stammers, No, it was sold out. Airi tries to hold back a laugh. Ryouta thinks to himself, This is why I can't deal with extroverts. Airi can't contain her laughter anymore and lets out a cheerful. She then slides a book across the counter towards him. This is, she holds up the light novel. You wanted this, right? When you called, I set a copy aside for you. It is the book he was looking for, Opai Sui. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Ryouta sees Airi as a divine being, thinking, Miyama, she's seriously an angel. He bows deeply and says, Thank you so much. Airi laughs and tells him, That's not the kind of thank you I meant. She then asks, So, what's my thank you for reserving it? A confused Ryouta replies, Huh? Airi explains, I set it aside for you out of customer service spirit, you know? Then she makes her move. So, in return, treat me to something. That's the deal. She leans in closer. I'm a pretty straightforward girl, you know. So, treat me to something at the cafeteria tomorrow, okay? Ryouta, flustered, thinks to himself, Correction, you're definitely not an angel. You're a little devil. She then asks, By the way, what's your name? He tells her, Izumiya Ryouta. With a bright smile, she says, Okay, then, Ryouta, I'll be looking forward to lunch break tomorrow. As she's called back to the register, she waves and says, See ya! A stunned Ryouta is left speechless. His mind is racing with the thought, Whoa! Having lunch with Airi Miyama, one of the queens of the school caste hierarchy, is totally insane, no matter how you look at it. The next day in class, Ryouta sits at his new desk, thinking, After this seat change, I got surrounded by beautiful girls. This sucks. His male classmates look on with envy. Man, I'm jealous of Izumiya's seat, one says. Another comments, why that otaku? He's only into 2D stuff, isn't he? Ryouta tries to ignore them and focus on his light novel. As he reads, his eyes drift upwards and he thinks, these legs are... As Ryouta is reading, he feels a stare and looks up to see Yuria Ichinose. He thinks to himself, that gloomy gal, Ichinose Yuria? She looks at him and says, I remembered it. Ryouta is confused and asks, What's that supposed to mean, Yankee gal? The next morning, as Ryouta is at his desk, Airi walks in. Morning, Airi, he says. Morning, she replies with a smile and then gives him a playful wink. Ryouta is completely flustered. Why'd you wink? Doesn't this make us look like we're secretly dating? He's bewildered by her actions, wondering what the wink could possibly mean. At lunchtime, Ryouta and Airi are eating together in the cafeteria. With her hands together, Airi cheerfully says, Let's eat! She happily eats her meal, exclaiming, Tasty! Ryouta quietly eats his onigiri and says, Thanks for the food. Airi tells him, Thanks for treating me. Sorry for picking something kind of expensive, okay? Ryouta replies, Nah, it's just fine. It's to thank you for yesterday. As they eat, other students watch them. One comments, Just the two of them. Another says, Well, yeah, can't blame them. So jealous. Airi notices and asks, By the way, hey, Ryouta, don't you think people are staring at us? Airi then brings up the morning's events. Weren't you talking with Yuria this morning? She asks. They said it's rare to see Yuria talking with a guy. He adds, I remembered it. And that's what she said. Airi wonders aloud, what did she mean by I remembered it anyway? Ryouta admits, that's what I want to know. Feels like a pretty high bar for me. Airi then suggests, then how about if Airi asks for you? Ryouta is hesitant. But that wouldn't be any fun now, would it? With a mischievous smile, Airi proposes a plan. I'll tell you Yuria's secret hangout, so why don't you go ask her directly? Operation Get Close to Yuria. She knows he wants to find out what Yuria meant. What? Airi explains her reasoning. Airi talked with you yesterday, Ryouta, and thought she wants to be friends. Since we ended up with seats close together, let's all try to get along, okay? Ryouta, however, sees through her act. He thinks she is manipulative and trying to mediate. But another part of him is intrigued. Airi dismisses his internal thoughts with, Nah, that's boring, so no thanks. Ryouta thinks to himself, this little devil. Following Airi's tip, Ryouta arrives at an arcade. So this is Ichinose's secret spot. If she's a gal, maybe the photo booth area. He looks around, but she's not here. He then hears clack clack sound. He follows the sound and finds Yuria intensely focused on a crane game. He notices these nails, milk tan, these chest, these thighs. It's Yuria Ichinose. This isn't going very well at all. He looks at the prize she's trying to win and is shocked. She's really struggling with this. You've got to be kidding me. A gal going after an erotic Bishoujo anime figure? He is stunned and wonders, no way. Resale? Catching Yuria's attention. Ah! She exclaims, turning around. Startled and flustered, Yuria confronts him. Don't tell me, you're trying to get dirt on me? The situation feels familiar to Ryouta, a deja vu of his encounter with Airi. He quickly denies her accusation. No, that's not it. He enacts Operation Sympathy and explains, well, actually, I also came here to try and win that figure. Yuria is taken aback. You too? She says, surprised. Ryouta asks, Ichinose, why were you trying to get this figure? Were you planning to give it to someone? Or was your goal to resell it or something? Yuria is left speechless. Yuria becomes furious at the mention of reselling. She grabs Ryota's collar and yells, Don't let me in with those sleaze bags. She clarifies her intentions with passion. I was trying to win it myself so I wouldn't have to give in to resellers. Don't lump me in with scummy resellers like them. Ryouta is taken aback by her outburst, realizing that resale was a trigger word. As Yuria continues to yell, Hey, are you even listening? Ryouta calmly asks, Can you let go of my hand? I need to focus now. A confused Yuria says, What? He puts a coin into the crane game, explaining, "I've trained solely to win Bishoujo figures. Claw machines aren't so easy that you can win in one shot." As he operates the controls, he tells her, claw machines are, well, meant to be won with a gentle touch. With precise movements, he positions the claw over the prize. All right, with this, he thinks, as the claw descends and successfully grabs the box. Yuria watches in disbelief. Amazing! You're seriously amazing! Ryouta retrieves the prize and hands it to her. Here you go. Yuria looks at the figure box with a happy wow. She then hesitates, asking, but are you sure? You're the one who won it. Ryouta explains, I was only able to win this because you worked so hard on that machine, Ichinose. So this belongs to you, Ichinose. You're the one. Holding the box, Yuria looks down, feeling a bit embarrassed. You're not going to make fun of me? No matter how you look at it, it's weird, right? A high school girl like me is into erotic anime. Ryouta responds honestly. Sure, I was surprised you liked an erotic anime where breast milk shoots out, but he then shows her his own light novel and states, I don't think there's anything wrong with proudly saying you love what you love. I don't even use a cover for my light novels anymore because I'm not ashamed of what I love. That's what it means to be an otaku. Ryouta continues, I don't think there's anything wrong with hiding your hobbies, but if you love something, I think you shouldn't be the one putting it down yourself. He immediately regrets his preachy tone, thinking, what the hell am I saying? I'm bottom of the barrel. He then suggests, hey, Ichinose, how about we just both forget everything that happened today? Yuria firmly replies, no, I don't want to. Then she confesses, because I'm an otaku too. Ryouta is shocked. Huh? You're an otaku too? Yuria explains her situation. So you've been a closeted otaku this whole time. It's not like I was trying to hide it or anything, but it's just kind of hard to be open about this hobby in front of Airi and Rui. Yuria recalls painful memories. Just because I like anime, losing close friends over that, I'm just tired of it. That's why I keep it hidden. She apologizes for being too forward. Sorry, maybe I asked something out of line. Your name was Izumiya, right? She realizes he didn't recall her name earlier. She then pleads with him, getting very close. Please, Izumiya, don't tell anyone that I'm an otaku, especially not Airi or Rui. Absolutely not. A flustered Ryouta agrees. I don't plan on telling anyone. Yuria is relieved. Really? Then I'm relieved. So that means I don't have to hide it from you, right? She then holds up a copy of the same light novel Ryouta owns. That thing I remembered this morning, she says with a grin. I bought it too. Ryouta finally understands. He thinks, wait, was I Remembered It actually the book's title? Opai Su? Yuria then makes a sudden declaration. Hey, give me your lime. I've decided you're going to be my partner for Otaku Talk, right now! A stunned Ryouta thinks, that's way too sudden! Yuria then resorts to blackmail. If you won't go along with me, I'll tell everyone you've been eyeing my thighs lewdly. I'll expose you to everyone. A horrified Ryouta realizes she knows. Yuria leans in close and proposes a deal. You'll keep my secret and I'll keep yours, she says with a sly grin. She points at him and declares, from now on, that's the kind of relationship we have. And just like that, Ryouta exchanges contact information with Yuria. He thinks to himself, I became friends with Yuria Ichinose just now. As they walk home together, he reflects, I ended up forming a slightly different kind of relationship than I had with Miyama, with Yuria Ichinose, the top-ranking gyaru in our class. Yuria asks him, hey, does Opai Sui run on the web too? The follower count's insane. Ryouta replies, yeah. Later that night, as Ryouta is lying in bed, he thinks, whew, still, who would have thought Ichinose was an otaku? He receives a message from Airi Miyama. Did you ask Yuria about this morning? He decides to protect Yuria's secret and replies, oh, I see. It's probably nothing big. Airi's response is a series of messages. Forget it. Just forget it. Hey. Airi then sends another message. Since I told you about Yuria, I kind of want to drink the new frappe from Staba as thanks. Before he can react, he gets another message, this time from Ichinose. She got a bento with the katsu curry. Her message reads, "Thanks for today. As thanks for the figure, how about a movie next time? My treat. If you don't want to, we can do something else." Ryouta is overwhelmed, internally screaming, a movie? Like, I'm not gonna go to that. He imagines the upcoming events. A new frappe at Staba with Miyama, and a movie with Ichinose, just the two of us. He's in disbelief. For something like this to happen in the life of a forever gloomy guy like me? Lying in bed, he looks at his calendar, marked with Miyama and a frappe, and movie with Ichinose. He realizes this is what they call a ryaju. This is all thanks to the seat change. In other words, and then he begins to wonder about the seat change itself. Thanks to the seat change arranged by Kuroki Rui? Was it deliberate or just a coincidence? If it was intentional, then why would someone like me, a gloomy nobody, get placed in that prime seat? He remembers, I went to the same middle school as Kuroki, but we never even talked. He concludes, no way someone like her would even notice a speck like me. Yeah, it was just a coincidence. Meanwhile, in her room, Rui Kuroki looks at a picture of Ryouta on her phone, a gentle smile on her face.